And welcome to ND Social. This is the podcast where I, Dylan Yeager, try really, really hard to sound like I know what I'm talking about and try to be professional while I interview independent filmmakers. And today is a very special episode. It's May the 4th, and we have a fun little game I'm going to do with my guest today, Jake Daniels. And look at that, Han Solo Cup Flip Challenge. Bring it closer here. Check it out, guys. Han Solo Cup Flip Challenge. So the rules of the game, Jake, is we take a shot of Angry Orchard. That's our signature drink here. We bring it to the edge of the table and we flip it. If you flip it onto the other side, you go to the next drink and you take a shot and you flip it, and we keep going until we get to the end. Whoever gets to the end first wins.
Okay.
All right.
Clear.
So here we go, guys. You ready? Cheers. 3,
Cheers.
2, 1, go.
Oh no.
Hey, guys, come on. Oh, Dylan's there.
Oh, it's slippery.
I'm making a mess, dude.
This table is like,
It's the worst table for this.
Okay, I'm coming over here with it.
Oh,
He's moving on. They're tied. Catch up here.
oh,
Oh, Dylan moved on.
oh, you almost got me.
Jake, catch up. Oh,
I'm on my
Dylan's
last
on.
one.
Oh, come on.
Why come back and get it? Oh, Jake's moves on.
Oh.
Dylan is the winner.
I'm the winner of the Han Solo Flippity Cup Challenge.
All right.
All right, guys. We'll be right back with our special interview with Jake Daniels. Everybody give him a round of applause. And welcome back to Indie Social, guys. I hope you enjoyed that little game we played, the Han Solo Cup.
The Han Solo Cup Challenge, inspired by the Jimmy Fallon thing that he did.
Yes.
You know, I was looking at some May 4th themed things that we could do on the show that was sort of interesting. And Jake was kind enough to say, hell yeah, man, I'll do it. So that was fun. Hopefully that's something that we can do more often.
So Michael doesn't believe me. Drinking a whole Angry Orchard in less than a minute doesn't cause any harm. But it does because I'm feeling it. But, well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Our guest today, he goes by Jake of all trades, and nothing could be more spot on, from writing to sound to lighting and even behind the camera. Please join my friend Jake Daniels to the show.
Oh, Jake.
And there he is.
Hello.
How you doing, man?
Real good. How are you guys doing?
Good. Man.
You're on the show on May the 4th. It's a special Star Wars day. As you guys can see, we have our
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you. We have our armory in the background. And Michael, talk to them about our new banner.
Yeah, so this is a banner that we just got. If you guys don't know, we're going to IMPA on May 14th, and we're gonna have a booth there, and we'll be live. So we have a little banner that we made, but that's sort of gonna be a thing that we're gonna have sort of every episode now.
Yeah, and going back to May 14th, whoever's watching, if you're an inspiring filmmaker, you have something to promote, we will be live pretty much not the whole day, but a good chunk of the day.
We have I think we're starting at 3 p.m. and then we'll be going into the until the award ceremony. So yeah, we'll be going for a decent amount of time.
And if you're not a filmmaker and you're watching this, please come. It's open to the public. It's the Iowa Oscars. So it's like a big deal for all these filmmakers who got nominated. So yeah, we would love for you guys to support. And again, even if you're not a filmmaker, just come on the show with us. We want to chit chat with you.
Yeah.
And going to our guest, Jake Daniels. Terrible with last names, man. Okay, so he would know this because he is our biggest fan. And I go back to that when we started doing this live version of the podcast, we always had a Jake tune in to every single episode. Neither Michael or myself knew who Jake was. I was thinking he was probably a filmmaker from out of state. Found out he's from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and a fantastic filmmaker that came out of nowhere. So yeah, talk to us about how you started getting into filmmaking.
Sure. Yeah. So I actually started out on YouTube about 2016, I think. I started a YouTube channel called Jake of All Trades. And I was just kind of making like DIY projects. Like I had like a little workshop in our garage, and I was always making something. And I decided to just borrow my wife's camera because she's a photographer, and I started making my own little videos. Just to try to like give back to the maker community, because that's where I learned most of what I know. Was just watching YouTube videos. So I decided to make my own channel, and then that kind of rolled up into making higher production value videos, adding audio and better camera and lenses and lights and all the things, and then got to film kind of in 2020 during the pandemic, where actually it's more like 2021, honestly. I was on a drone client job. So I was driving to inspect some windmills or something. And I was listening to actually the Cinematic Heartland podcast. That was
shout out to Kevin.
Yeah, shout out to Kevin. And so kind of figured like, okay, there are actually people in Iowa making films. And it's always kind of been like an interest of mine. I've always loved films.
But you didn't grow up in Iowa, right? Or did you?
I did.
Oh, yeah. You did? Okay.
Yeah. So I was actually from Marengo originally, or Ladora.
We got a comment on here where they want you to get a little closer to the mic.
Hello, is that better?
Is that good? Shout out to the people. Is that good? Does he sound better? Jake, give him a little.
Hello, am I coming in clear? Do you like the sound of my voice?
Michael here wanted to know why is Homeward Bound your favorite movie, and why do you say you'd rather work with animals over humans?
Okay.
What a question to start it off with, Michael.
So Homeward Bound is my favorite movie.
Is it actually though?
No.
Okay.
But it's my favorite because of the Golden Retriever Shadow. He is truly an inspirational character. He has the best character development through the entire film. He starts off as just this lovable mutt who is just in love with his owner, and then he becomes a leader of Chance and Sassy.
I mean, Sassy's my favorite for sure. Sassy is an iconic character.
Absolutely. How about
I've never seen Homeward Bound.
You've never seen Homeward
Oh
Bound?
my gosh.
What's it about? Maybe
I'm sure you grew up watching Homeward Bound. It's like, I don't know, iconic, man. It's like it's two dogs, one Spike, right? Or am I wrong?
Chance.
Oh, why do I think it's him?
Voiced by Michael
Wait,
J.
is
Fox.
there a cat involved also?
Yeah.
Okay,
And-
I'm sure I've seen
and-
it. It
and-
sounds very familiar.
Yeah,
now.
and they're on a farm because, well, shit, man, it's been a minute.
Well,
but-
I'm a big fan of, like, when I was a kid, I agree, where I watched movies where like animals would talk. That was like the coolest thing.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you the movie beginning to end, but I'm almost positive I've watched it because it all sounds familiar now.
It's a classic. And then they went on to make a sequel that wasn't so good. And then I don't know if they made a third movie. I'm not sure. But anyway, Homeward Bound's a good movie. I'm glad that's your favorite movie. It's not really. I wouldn't imagine, but we'll get to that. We have some questions about your favorite movies here. But as you were saying, sort of this process of getting into the filmmaking community, how did you find out about Iowa Film and all that?
Oh, right. Okay. So I was talking about Kevin's podcast, Cinematic Hartman. So I'm listening to that on this long drive, just a few episodes. And I'm like, okay, crap, there's actually people that are really making films here. And he mentioned the Iowa Film Facebook page. So I looked it up and it was just a public page. And I joined up and kind of read through what people were doing. And I thought, like, these are really awesome projects. People are making real films here. And it's not just like, these silly amateur films you see every now and then, but like actual films. And
I love hearing this story about how people first find out about Iowa Film. Because that's crazy. But I'm sorry to interrupt you, but how did you find Kevin's podcast if you weren't already on Iowa Film?
Yeah, so I was just kind of searching through podcasts. I knew I had a long drive ahead of me and I didn't have anything that really interests me. And it popped up on my suggested feed.
Oh, wow.
On Spotify?
On Google Podcasts is what I have.
Kevin, shout out, man. This is like, did you hear that? That's
Do you know
awesome.
if that was
The beauty of the
before-
algorithm, man.
Do you know if that was before? I don't know if you know this, but he's part of like the Indie Hustle
Indie
network?
Film Hustle.
That was
Film
it,
Hustle.
Yeah,
Oh, so he was a part of that.
it was part of
maybe?
that network, I think, that got it to
Okay, cool.
my eyeballs at least.
Okay, cool. Well, anyway, as you were
Kevin,
going, I
that's
was
so
curious
cool,
how
man.
you-
I'm sure you're watching.
Yeah, props to Kevin. Yeah, and so then I just decided, like, I might give that a try. It sounded fun. It sounded like something creative I could do, especially during the pandemic when everyone's kind of stuck at home. So my wife and I just decided to make a short horror film for Halloween, just something kind of festive and fun. And I had a few ideas of what would be kind of cool or fun to work with. We made this one called Pumpkin Panic, which is kind of a short film about a woman who's doing a photo shoot with her dog and then sees something kind of sinister happen. And then it begins to be a presence that haunts her and kind of progresses from there.
So real quick, before we get to that point, you were talking about making little videos with your wife's cameras. Like, what were they, just cinematic travel videos almost, or what were the videos that you were making?
So they were DIY projects.
Oh, okay, right.
Like workshop stuff. Oh man, I've made a bunch of different weird things. But,
well, you were showing me some. You had not a viral video necessarily, but a well popular video, right?
Yeah. So I took a tablet, like a Google or an Android tablet, and I decided I wanted to put that in my car in place of the radio.
Mm-hmm.
So I just devised this whole wiring system and amplifier and control mechanism and everything to get this tablet to basically just slide into a slot where my radio used to be, and then controlled everything from music to navigation to I don't know, anything that a modern
Dude, that's genius, because all these new cars have little tablets
and
attached to them, and you did it yourself.
Yeah, back in 2016, I think I did.
Can you do that for me? Because I'm so mad I don't have a car that has a fancy tablet.
It was so complicated. I don't know if I could do it again, but
I'd pay you.
How do you learn though? You are a very DIY person. Is the process going on YouTube, finding a tutorial, and then sort of learning from that, or do you read a lot of manuals? What's the process of learning?
I have kind of a good foundation. I have kind of a good foundation because I was a mechanical engineering major. And so that kind of built a lot of the knowledge base. And then from there, in school, you don't learn about how to obviously put a head unit or an Android tablet in your car. So a lot of that was from YouTube, just kind of, researching and figuring out, okay, how do I get audio from this little port into my speakers? How does all that system work? So there's like the audio piece, and then there's the power piece. How do you get it from the car battery through all of the relays and junctions and fuses into the tablet, so it charges while you're also pulling data out of that same port. So
it's
like a very
slightly
process.
terrifying how you know how to do all this stuff. You taught me how to get out of zip ties.
Right.
When I was we were on set doing
a tutorial for that too.
I'm sure you can find it. It's all out there.
Is that the next video that you're working on for your YouTube channel?
Yeah, how to escape from any sort of
that'd be kind of like a fun mini series almost, man. Like how to escape from, you know, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, talk to Michael Godfrey. He's really into all the like survivalist stuff.
Oh, cool.
So I'm sure he knows.
I mean, I love like the survival-ish thing on YouTube. So like was the goal originally to become sort of a YouTuber, or before you sort of got more into like the filmmaking community?
I was never really interested in being like a big YouTuber.
Sure.
It was just all kind of I don't know, just a hobby. And then also I wanted to sort of give back to that community that had already taught me so much. So using what I had learned and kind of filling the gaps on my own, you can then make a video and teach someone else, you know, the next generation or someone who's trying to do a similar thing.
So are you still sort of pursuing doing more YouTube videos, or is that like sort of on the back burner now while you kind of pursue this filmmaking thing? Or?
Yeah, so I'm still kind of making YouTube videos here and there. I have one I actually need to be filming soon. I kind of partnered in a way with this fitness company called The Wild Gym, and they make just sort of different fitness products. But the cool thing is that they want a DIY version of their products because they're relatively simple. And so they got a lot of feedback saying, well, why don't I just make my own? And instead of shying away, they leaned into it and said, okay, yeah, well, we'll find somebody who can DIY it. And so they reached out to me, and yeah, we kind of built up.
Did they find you through your YouTube channel?
Yeah, because I did it, like I DIY'd one of their products and made a YouTube video about it. And they were like, hey, we actually like this.
Wow, did you send it to them, or did they just like maybe found it on YouTube? And
yeah,
wow,
they just
that's really
found it
cool.
and they reached out to me.
Wow, that's cool that you're able to like do that and sort of have that on your YouTube channel and like found that work through doing that. That's totally interesting. I also want to know, so you were talking about working on Pumpkin Panic. What is like, what's it like collaborating with your wife? Is that a difficult thing in the writing process, or like, what's that process like?
That's the best. Like, that was such a great experience. We had not had that kind of dynamic before, where it was this like, I mean, we were just in a relationship, right? Like anyone else. And so the whole like director actress thing, and then we were kind of both fired off ideas, brainstormed ideas of how to develop the story and what kind of shots to get. So that was it really like developed into this neat, different like offshoot of our relationship, where it's just a really creative, collaborative thing.
I think that's really cool and special that you guys were able to like bond over making a movie. And like, this is to the point where you think you'd work with her again? I mean,
absolutely.
Like,
I mean, he did.
Yeah, we made a second one.
You made a second movie for Christmas.
The Christmas one, the one that I haven't seen yet. Right. Oh, and speaking, shout out to his Halloween film. That was in our Halloween film festival.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's how I mean, other than you like watching the podcast, I think that's how we sort of like knew who you were as a filmmaker. You submitted to that, and that was super cool and unique. And like, I love the idea behind that. Who did you guys sort of like mutually come up with that, or was that
with the Pumpkin
Panic? Yeah. Was it like just a story you guys thought of?
She's really good at the ideas, where it's like, especially with related to horror.
Is she a big like horror fan?
We both are.
Oh, okay, cool.
But she's the one that's always like very Stephen King about it. Like, you know, we're almost pretty sure that when we leave this room and go to our cars to leave, that there's not an evil person in our backseat ready to hurt us. But she's like got those ideas that it'll develop into a story from there. That's like these kind of weird like concepts that we can develop into a script and, you know, make a whole film from there.
So since it was just you guys, did you guys bother like making like an actual script format thing, or was it sort of some notes that you guys took in improv?
So Pumpkin Panic, I think I just had kind of like a outline, essentially.
Yeah.
But then Santa Baby, the Christmas one, that was a full script because we had multiple actors on the set there.
So, and then who takes that responsibility? Is it you sort of writing the script and then you'll give it to her and like, if she's cool with it, like it moves on, or like?
It's close to that. Yeah. I did the bulk of the writing and then gave her the draft, and she was like, okay, this would work better here, and these lines would be better said this way. So the story definitely developed together. And then as we were shooting, it developed further because we came up with different ideas of how to end it or how to change this one scene so it developed the story in a different way. So it's kind of constantly developed, whereas I think on a normal film set, you have your script and you pretty much stick to it. The odd thing was that, yeah, while we were filming it, it kept transforming.
How difficult was it? Well, so you made your first one and it was just you guys, and then your second film, you sort of brought on some more people.
Yes.
Was it tough, like being a first time director in a way, directing those people, or like, what was that like?
Yeah, that was much more difficult. Obviously, you start adding people and complexity to your stories, and it's going to be a lot harder. And I took on, I think, a bit more than I was capable of.
Yeah, because you had like a pretty crazy deadline that you were trying to hit before Christmas, right?
Yeah, because I was trying to get it out, either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, and it was like December 15th or 16th when we shot most of it.
And that's a longer film, isn't it? Like how long
like
is it?
18, 19 minutes.
Yeah, see, that's crazy, man. We do a Christmas film every year, and I mean, you were cool enough to be a part of that with our recent film. And man, I tell you, don't make Christmas films like a couple weeks before Christmas, because if your deadline is Christmas, you're gonna be like so stressed out, man.
The whole Christmas season was like this movie, and they get to really enjoy it.
Was it fun though to like show your family and stuff? Like, hey,
really
here's a little gift. It's a movie I made.
It was pretty satisfying to have that like finished product out for Christmas. And I actually eventually did go back and make some tweaks for it and submitted it to like some festivals.
Oh, that's cool.
I have the film that that's better, at least in my opinion. And my wife had some input on that as well to say, hey, the colors are better, this way. And so we made
well, then you had some more time to like play with stuff, without that deadline, which I know is totally intense, man. But I think you guys pulled together something really cool and unique. And I mean, you guys have the most beautiful home I've ever seen, man.
Thanks, man.
I was like, man, are they in an Airbnb right now? Why is it so nice? And then you told me it was your house, and I was like, man, that's crazy. But yeah, that's cool, man. It's cool that you sort of have found a collaborator and you guys can work together on making films. You guys have goals on making anything bigger, just working on some more smaller stuff together?
Yeah. So the plan is to keep making short films, but we have an idea for more of a feature length one out of our place again. So we live on this vineyard, and the idea of it is to incorporate this vineyard in an interesting way. And it started out as this short that we initially wanted to make, and we actually shot some of it. And this was back before even Pumpkin Panic. We shot some of it, and we didn't really like how it was going, and so we kind of scrapped it. And then we got to thinking, and we developed even more like the backstory and then the post-story, and it developed into this kind of like feature-length idea that I still have to write, but it's in there. And it's like, once I feel like I'm skilled enough and I know what I'm doing enough, I will go ahead and make it.
I mean, credit to you, man. You're a very educated person when it comes to like filming movies. I think a lot of people, they don't know too much before jumping into it. I feel like you were almost on the opposite. Like you knew so much and then you jumped into it. And like because like when I talk to you, you're able to like understand everything I'm saying. And some people struggle with that, especially like not being a new filmmaker, but being relatively new to the film scene. Do you normally study that stuff? Is that?
No, I didn't like come from a film background or like study it a whole lot. I just sort of picked up a lot along the way, especially with operating a camera, learning all about the manual settings. You got aperture, ISO, shutter speed, all of those things, and then lighting techniques. It just all kind of comes as you watch YouTube videos and watch other films, and just kind of develop your knowledge base from what you have available to you, not necessarily going to film school or even coming from a history of it and jumping onto a set.
Well, that and the other thing is that you're a professional drone pilot, right?
Yes. Yeah, I'm FAA certified.
So like, what made you want to get into drone videography? Is that something you enjoy almost more than regular videography, or is it just another one of your tricks that you know how to do, man?
Yeah. So the drone stuff started as more of a business, like a commercial idea, because I had the knowledge base of aviation because I came from the military. And so that transferred very easily into getting that, it's called Part 107 drone license, where I think a lot of like filmmakers struggle with the test you have to take, whereas for me, it's like just super easy because it's all already there.
Because you've already like
Right.
sort of practiced it and know a little bit about it. Okay, yeah.
So I figured if I could just get a drone, it's kind of an easy slide into commercial work. You can have clients and you can go and do inspections and maybe make some films too.
Yeah, I mean, you recently just got to go to like an abandoned school, right? Wasn't that?
Yeah, it's an abandoned care facility in Scotch Grove, Iowa. It's Edenburg Manor. And the client there is actually a ghost hunting tour business. And so they wanted mostly a drone video, but I said I also offer, handheld ground-based video or whatever. And so I said, yeah, cool, make a whole promo reel. So we got to go to this place and it's spooky.
It's very spooky.
It's very
I went and filmed
Oh yeah, with Michael Bergen, right?
Michael Bergen.
Okay.
It was for his haunted house, so he just wanted some like clips of like
I remember
insane
that.
people. Dude, there was nothing more creepy than pretending to be insane in one of the old rooms where the insane lived.
Well, dude, Jake was showing me one of these clips where it was like he wasn't by his camera, no one was, because it was just you guys in the building, right?
Yeah.
And in the footage, you can literally see the camera like tilt a little bit and like the sound cuts, right?
Yeah. So, okay, it sounds weird when we say this, but like literally it was on a very flat, solid surface. And I just left it filming and I had to walk away. And then you just see the camera like rock to the right, come back, and then the sound cuts out. And it's like, I watched it back, I was like, what the heck was that?
And like, I'm not a person who really believes in ghosts and everything. And like, I was even a little spooked. I was like, man, yeah, that's pretty spooky, dude. So and then I was able to see your video. You let me see it, and like that was super cool. How did you start learning to edit so well? Was that also just going through YouTube or
Just
practicing? Just more of your
one of the trades.
One of your trades,
right? Yeah, that was just from YouTube mostly, and I started out just using was it Windows Movie Maker? Remember that one?
Oh yeah, man, that's how I started.
So start off making films with that, and then you upgrade to what the heck was it called? VSDC or something. It was just some free, if you Google like free video editing software.
Did you have the Windows Movie Maker? Because there was like Windows Movie Maker, and then there was like Windows Movie Maker Lite. There was like two different versions, and like when the Windows upgraded from Windows, I think 7 to 8, or maybe there was like a new version of Windows Movie Maker.
Right.
So yeah, I was just curious if you remember which one that you were on.
I'm pretty sure it was the old.
Yeah,
it was just like the
the default one
for your kid's graduation party.
And like I don't even think computers come with like a default editing thing anymore.
Not anymore, as far as I know.
But yeah, so it started in there, and you sort of upgraded to what was it?
It was some acronym, VSD something.
I wonder, because I used Camtasia. I don't know if you know what that was. That was sort of like a screen recorder, but also you could edit. It was more for people who would record their screens for tutorials. Right. But they had like, that was the first time I ever had like timelines and where you can like stack, layers and stuff. Because Movie Maker didn't have that, I don't think. You could only literally play one thing after another. So anyway, yeah, so you went to VST or whatever it was called.
And then from there, I went on to DaVinci Resolve, which was kind of a huge jump because you download it for free because it's an awesome free video software. And then it's this like super overwhelming platform. And so that was another, like month of watching YouTube tutorials and just learn how to use this thing. But once I did, I was really glad because one, it's free, and two, it's like a really powerful software.
Well, I mean that, and it's not slowly. I mean, it has been an industry like, well-used editing program, but now I think even more so than ever. I think a lot of people are making the switch to DaVinci. And I mean, I'm trying to. It's difficult, especially going from Adobe Premiere that I've been with for like 8 years. But man, Adobe is the most frustrating thing in the world, and it crashes on me. Like today, it crashed on me like 4 times. I had to go back and autosaves, and I'm starting to slowly hate Premiere more than anything.
I've never used Premiere, but all of those horror stories keep me away.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, man.
Safely.
When we were making the Z Triangle, I believe he was editing on Adobe Premiere, and it completely crashed on him, and he had to restart from the beginning. And it was a feature film, and so like it got delayed for like a whole year.
Yeah, that's a nightmare scenario.
Yeah, it's scary and it sucks, and it happens a lot. If you don't like, I have to have autosaves every 5 minutes or you'll be screwed because it crashes so much. You got some questions here that I wanted to get to. Michael Minard wants to know, how did drone work interest you? I mean, you sort of talked about that, but is there any more that you could add to that almost?
Yeah. So aviation background, obviously. And then my dad bought a Phantom 3,
Okay.
I believe.
Are those the big white ones?
That was the big one with like the, you know, the long propellers. And he wanted that to just kind of like survey his land, and he didn't want to bother learning how to fly it. So he asked me to learn. So that was actually the first drone that I learned on.
Oh, wow.
And then I always thought they were kind of silly. I thought they were toys. I thought they were, you know, just like these things that like kids use for hobbies, whatever. And then I used it. I'm like, oh, it's got a decent camera, good flight time and good range and everything. And so then I upgraded to some of the Mavic lines of drones for my own business. And then it kind of took off from there. And I really appreciated the use of a flying camera. This decent camera.
Dude, I mean, I have the DJI Mavic Mini 1 and I love that thing. I mean, I only have that because like it's so small that you don't have to have the Part 107 or what you were calling. Yeah. So that's why I have that, because that test that you have taken and, you know, completed scares me. So
it's intense.
It is intense, man. And like, I mean, Aaron Bandy, he was telling me that it's, you know, it's tough. And then if you mess up, don't you have to like repay to take the test, right?
It's like $150 to take the test.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, man. But I mean, also if like drone work is something that you're interested in, I think it, you know, it's the best for you. Let's see here. Brittany Benedict asked, I'd love to hear about the genres Jake is interested when it comes to filmmaking. What is he interested in? So far his stuff is dark. Will we see more of that, or is he switching it up?
Right. Definitely interested in switching it up. I like the horror genre a lot. I know a lot of people like start there and then move on, but I like it because it's a really cool playground to work in. You can like, because there's so many genres that can like pull into it. Like you can have an action horror, you can have a sci-fi horror, you can have a drama horror, and it's all like under this horror umbrella or thriller umbrella, but you can bring in a lot of different elements and make it a really powerful story. It's not all, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street. Sometimes it's Parasite, you know?
Yeah, what would you classify Parasite? Is it more of a thriller than a horror?
That's a little bit of everything.
It's like a cultural horror.
It's so good, man. That movie I will always love so much. And like I was worried that it was going to be overhyped, because sometimes movies get overhyped and you're like, whatever. But I remember watching that and just being completely shocked. I can't remember the director's name, man.
Bong Joon-ho.
Yes. Yeah. Unbelievable, man. He did such a good job with that film. And like, God, there's just that one scene in there. You've seen it, right? Okay, well, I hope everyone sees it, because it's just that moment where that person gets slammed with the rock.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how they pulled that off, but I felt that.
Dude, it was brutal.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I've never loved watching a movie with subtitles so much in my life.
Yeah, I've always struggled with it, but like once you get past it,
so well with it though. Like it was easy to kind of keep up with it, unless you're eating while you're watching. Like I ended up getting Mexican food. I was like, okay, I had no idea that it was in a completely different language, but I was like, I would go down to take a bite, and then I'm like, what the fuck did I just miss? Because it's just you got to keep up with this. So I like, my food got cold. I didn't eat lunch that day. I was just like glued to the screen because I didn't want to miss anything. It's genius.
Yeah,
it is. It was a great film and well deserving of everything it won. We got some more questions here. Ellen Walker, she says, Ellen? Jacob is so smart and handsome, and I am not his mom.
You're my mom, Ellen.
You're his mom. Let's see.
You're everybody's mom.
Muse Lasta? Am I saying that right? Right here. Muse Lasta? I don't know.
You, Ben?
Talk about movie scenes that have been the most influential to you, most compelling scenes from movies from memory.
Oh, wow. That is a hard one. I'm gonna have to come back to that.
Yeah, it is. It's tough to like sort of pull from, because especially if you watch a lot of movies, it's like, man, I think so many have sort of influenced you, especially being in the horror genre. You know, I think a lot of influence comes from horror, you know, because like a lot of things do get sort of not copy and paste, but like a lot of things are very common with a lot of the horror films. But you know, I think you have to study those to figure out how to be a little bit unique. But I mean, it's tough. So. I think like I don't know if it was a study that I read or not, but I think horror films at one point was like the most produced genre at one point.
Yeah,
you know?
of course. Yeah, makes sense, because it's such a powerful storytelling mechanism, if that's fair to say, because you're playing with a lot of strong emotions. Right?
Well,
If you
then
get
it's
those
like
across the screen.
fairly inexpensive to a certain degree, you know. You're not having people flying like in the Avengers, so
Right.
that tend to be a thing for, you know, lower budget filmmakers, which I mean, you know, some great ones out there. Let's see. Kevin Isaacson says, I edited Red on Premiere and it would crash every time. I tried to render it, moved over to DaVinci, then had to start over, but luckily, it's only 2 minutes. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, man, once I feel like I learn the hotkeys that I can sort of do everything in Premiere, I'm sure I will move over to DaVinci. Jake and I were talking about editing Batman together, and I think that we're going to try to tackle DaVinci together, and he'll teach me as we learn to sort of cut the film together.
There we go. That's what I want to hear.
Let's see here. Emma Walker says, what is your favorite film that you've gone to see recently and why? Can I make a guess?
You can make a guess.
Is it Everything Everywhere All at Once?
It is.
Dylan, have you seen
I have
that?
not seen
Oh
that.
my God.
If you're watching this, go and watch that movie.
Yes.
It is a.
And then invite us because I'll watch it again.
I'll watch it again. Yeah.
Oh,
It is
my
an
God.
iconic movie. And
So
it's
good.
so rarely do you see a movie that's good at everything.
Yeah.
Like it is like, no, it's great at everything. It tackles like a lot of society things. It tackles like amazing filmmaking techniques. It's got a good story. It's hilarious. It's got a lot of good action. Like, man.
Well, dude, and then man, I can't remember his name, but he played Data. God,
Hawk One.
yes. He was on Jimmy Fallon and he was talking about it and like how you know, he wasn't acting for so long because there wasn't a lot of representation, and he got a lot of FOMO from not doing Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah,
And then so he was like, man, like I want to get back into acting. And then, you know, 2 weeks later, he was on the set of Everything Everywhere All at Once, or maybe not on the set, but he got the part for that. And dude, I think
so good in
that exact feeling you got for Parasite, Dylan, you will get for Everything Everywhere.
Really?
It is one of the best movies I've watched of all time.
Okay,
is
I've never even
unbelievable.
heard of it, to be honest.
What?
With you. I've heard people talk about it, but I have no
Have
idea
you
what it's
seen
about.
Swiss Army Man with Daniel Radcliffe?
Oh, you were telling me. I love that.
yeah,
director.
from the same director.
Is
So
it
that's their
really?
second
Okay,
film,
then I
man.
gotta- Swiss Army Man's
their
one
second
of my
feature,
favorite
and,
movies.
like, they mostly do music videos,
Mhm.
which I guess they get a lot of their stylistic elements.
Well,
from.
dude, if you watch their music videos, 100%, you can see that that's the same style that they bring to a feature film, and that is so cool.
Have you ended up seeing that Viking movie yet?
Yeah, we just went to go
Northman?
see The Northman.
Is
Me
it
and
good?
Jake have been going to the movies every week for 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
We're gonna see
Tell
Doctor
'em.
Strange this week. But we've been talking about starting a movie group where like filmmakers can get together and every week go see a film, and then after that maybe talk about it, you know, and
Heck yeah.
sort of dissect it. But yeah, we just went to go see The Northman.
Is it good? I'm a huge Viking fan.
Okay,
I
so if
wanna-
you're in for a classic revenge tale with a lot of good historical accuracies or historical research, then yeah, it's your movie.
okay,
And if it's, yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that because I didn't like it until I watched the making of,
Mhm.
and then you see how much detail they put into.
Oh,
all
dude,
the set
I think
pieces and
Robert
lines.
Egger was saying that it's the most accurate Viking film to ever be
Yeah.
made. And I mean, dude, from the sets to like how they talked, and like, I think there's a lot to appreciate in that film.
Yeah.
It's just a little boring for me, but I mean, the action that is in it is phenomenal, dude.
It's
And
like a slow burn until the last 10 or 15 minutes,
yeah, and then it's
and then it's too quick.
yeah, and then I would argue almost that it's sort of too long sometimes, where like I feel like they could have cut it 10, 15 minutes, you know. But it's a good film. I would personally wait to watch it at home. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know. But yeah, it was okay. It wasn't bad. But if you like Vikings, yeah, I think you'll like it.
I got a nice little home theater set up, so I'm excited for that. I almost like watching movies at home more than going to the actual movies, to be
Oh,
honest.
dude, I'm on the way opposite, man. If I can see a movie in the theater, I will 100%. There's nothing like it for me, man. And if you haven't gone to Film Scene, have you been there before?
Mm-mm.
Dude, Film Scene has a really cool theater.
It's cool.
It's really cool. And
Well, I
and
filmed there once.
You
when
did?
We did crap. It was that movie where I played the guy on a bus. And I was like a bully. I showed you that clip of it.
I remember you saying something like that, but I don't remember.
That movie was so long ago, I can't even think of the name of it. I had such a small role in it, but we filmed a movie
Yeah, I think I've
theater
seen a
scene.
trailer of it recently.
Yeah, we filmed a movie theater scene where it was at the film scene. Does that show I do too many movies?
Well, I
can't even
think
remember
you
the
were
name of
probably
one
you
of
were
them.
probably at the old film scene. We went. I think we went to the new one,
Oh,
right?
well, I had no
I think
idea
there's
the new
two.
one. Okay.
But anyway, here we got some more questions.
All right.
I think it's called If It Makes You Smile.
I think.
What is what?
If It Makes You Smile.
If
I
what?
think that's what the name. No, I think that's what the
Oh,
name
the
of
film.
movie is.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. I was like, what is he saying right now? Hevioso Film says, well, shout out to Derek Smith. He says, is there a certain writer / director that inspires you?
Yes. Oh man. I have a list in my head somewhere. Okay, let me think. So, what the heck's his name? Shoot, I'm gonna blank on all of this right now.
Is there like a movie that he did that we can think of?
Yeah, hang on.
Happy Star Wars Day, everyone! But I am getting way too hot wearing this. My Jedi plaid robe.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are, probably a little tipsy from all the shots they just had to do, and this room for some reason is 90 degrees. I'm literally sweating. So, did that give you a minute to think about it?
Man, I am totally blanking. I have an awesome list, and it's all there, and I can't recall it right now.
Well, that's okay. How about we'll wait on that for a second if it comes back to you. Do you have a favorite Star Wars film for, Star Wars themed day?
Okay. So this is going to be the cop-out answer, but it's Rogue One. It is so good. And
it is good.
In terms of like enriching the universe kind of movie. It does that.
Spoiler alert, but the ending, like I love Rogue One too. I really do. But the ending was so dramatic. Oh my gosh, like I loved Darth Vader, but I loved him even more after that scene.
That last scene.
Yeah, he was such a badass.
Right. You never got the chance to see Darth Vader like that before.
Yeah.
I watched it in that in theaters with my brothers, and we were just like the whole 45 seconds that scene lasts, but it's just amazing.
I also, not to interrupt, but I also love The Mandalorian. And
yes, for sure.
Spoiler alert, but the ending of, was it season 2?
For the next 10 minutes, we're gonna be talking about Star Wars.
Okay,
so if you haven't watched any of them or the series that have spun off of them, chill out for a minute.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say it. Luke Skywalker coming in The Mandalorian was the most amazing thing to ever happen to Star Wars. They did the same thing that they did with Darth Vader. You never seen Luke Skywalker.
Well, here's the crazy thing is there was so much hype for The Mandalorian that before I ever watched any Star Wars movie, I watched The Mandalorian. So there's a lot of stuff I didn't understand.
What? Wait, you hadn't seen any not even Empire?
Until the pandemic and
same with Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter.
Yeah, well, they probably never heard those. But anyway, I never watched any of them, but I watched The Mandalorian. And then the pandemic happened and I was, what are we going to do? Like, I'm tired of playing video games. Let's figure out something. So Brittany and I went and watched all of the Star Wars films in order. I mean, they were great. A lot of people give shit to the sequels or the prequels.
In what order did you watch them? Because there's a specific order.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
I mean, I know a lot of people. I think my friend told me to watch the originals first and then go to the.
Can't do that. Not anymore.
Not for me. I would be confused. I think I had to go in order, But I mean, Brittany spoiled the whole thing of like Luke being, or what? No, is it
Vader being his father?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or who his father was or something like. God, I don't know.
Darth Vader's the father of Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that was going to happen. But anyway, watch The Mandalorian. And then I was like, all right, maybe I should watch the Star Wars. We watched the Star Wars films. And then, then I went back and watched The Mandalorian. And then I watched the season 2. And dude, Mandalorian is amazing. It's one of the best.
I love the Book of Boba Fett only because I'm a huge Boba Fett fan. I love the Mandalorians. I love the bounty hunters. But they did him dirty.
I haven't watched it. I wasn't
compared to the Mandalorian, you would think Boba Fett would be more of a badass than the Mando because he's like old school bounty hunter. That whole season, you see nothing but Boba Fett get his ass kicked. Like he's such. Don't you agree though? But he's always getting beat up.
To be fair, in most of Star Wars, he's just getting his ass kicked.
That's true. That's true.
That's by Jedi, fine. But like, he's just tough. Like he's resilient, but he's not a great fighter.
Well, and maybe it's true because there's rumor that he's not even a true Mandalorian.
Because there's all those clones.
Well, he's the son.
Yeah, he's the son of Jango Fett, who was the original DNA donor.
Are you a big Star Wars fan? To like when you dive deep into the lore that Jango and Boba is not actual Mandalorian. I read into that.
He's like a wannabe or something. Like
Yeah.
he found the armor.
So
just put
maybe
it on.
that's why he's not well trained in the art
could be.
of being a bounty hunter, a fighter, I guess, because like just Mando is such a badass, and then when he gets that dark saber, just right there. Ooh, I got the toy dark saber. I love it. I beat up my son with it every day.
Is that why it's bad?
Yeah, we have intense lightsaber battles every day to the point where I almost break my ceiling fan every time because I get so into
That's
it.
gonna be your next fan film, man. Dress your son up as Yoda.
Kevin, we're gonna
Yoda
make a
for
Star Wars
Halloween.
film.
He was Yoda for Halloween 2 years ago. Baby Yoda.
Yeah, that's our next fan film. After Batman, we're gonna tackle a Star Wars fan film.
Are you serious?
I don't know.
Because dude, I would die to be in that.
I mean, why not? I mean, at this point, we're
Everyone else is doing it. Better.
To finish up Star Wars talk. No one said their favorite film, Star Wars film. Oh wait, you said Rogue One. Was yours also Rogue One?
No, Mandalorian, I would say doesn't count, but it's my favorite in the Star Wars universe. But have you seen the last 3 movies?
Oh yeah,
The 7, 8, 9.
yeah. I thought those got way too much criticism too. I thought they were good.
I think they were good too.
They're okay.
I didn't mind them, man. I thought they were. I mean, I love. Can't think of his name right now. Who's the main bad guy?
Adam Driver.
Adam Driver. Jesus, dude, I'm forgetting everyone's name. You're like my
Is
You can remember
I can't
everyone who I'm
remember my
talking
own
about, but
names.
not
I
your
can remember
favorite
all the
directors. But
I think my favorite would have to be The Last Jedi. And I know a lot of people are gonna hate me on that, but like I'm such a big Luke Skywalker fan, Mark Hamill fan. Like it was just so much nostalgia, just having a movie primarily with Luke Skywalker in it, even though I feel like they did Luke Skywalker dirty. They did the
Yeah.
original cast dirty.
But I imagine that seeing those guys again back in action was the same feeling that you get watching Spider-Man, you know?
Yeah.
Also
Spoiler.
you didn't watch New Spider-Man. But I mean, having people that were so iconic to come back and reprise their roles. I mean, dude,
There's nothing better than that. Like you
There
can't hate the last 3 movies because of that, even though they did the characters dirty. Like when you see Han Solo for the first time again, like Chewie, we're home. I was bawling like a baby.
yeah.
There's a lot of fan service in that.
There was
So,
it. I think isn't that why people were upset that there was too much fan service almost?
No, well,
Or the opposite?
Personally, I like the fan
Yeah.
service, and then I didn't like how they undid all the fan service they worked so hard to put in.
See, I don't even remember, to be honest with you. I think I need to watch them. Have you only watched them once and you're able to remember how you felt?
Mostly. I think I
That's
saw.
That's
the
all right
Must
with
have bad
Harry Potter,
memories.
dude.
Last
I've
Jedi
watched all the
and
Harry
Rise.
Potters maybe 2
Hmm.
times, and like I can tell you everything about it. Like I just love those movies so much.
I do Harry Potter.
Somebody commented Hereditary. You guys seen
Oh my
Hereditary?
God.
No.
Hereditary. Yes,
That's
Ari
such a good
Aster,
movie.
one of my favorite directors.
Same. I agree
Okay.
with you. I love that director so much.
Thank you, whoever
Midsommar?
commented that. 'cause that was one of
Muse
them on the
Lasta.
list I needed.
Am I saying that right? Muse Lasta. He's
Last
the one who
Muse.
wanted. No, it says Muse Last.
But, like,
oh,
the
is he
Last
putting it
Muse.
backwards?
Yeah.
Oh fuck, you're probably right, man.
I
Don't
think that might be bad, like Harbin Muse.
I don't know.
Spoiler alert, but the little girl in Hereditary that gets her head. That I still have nightmares about that. That was too realistic. I feel like somebody really died in that movie. They made that movie
So-
Midsummer also, and then like the death scenes.
And that's what I'm saying about horror is that it's such this like sandbox to play with, like, because grief, like that's what that movie is about. It's just like, how do you deal with grief? And you can do it in a drama, but you're going in to see a drama and you know you're going to be sad, but you watch a horror movie that has these extreme elements of grief in it. And I think it's able to teach you more. It's able to like get the point across in a different way because it's more real in a way.
Mhm.
I don't know.
That's the horror that scares me, is like
Right.
in Parasite, that scene with the and that
I love your
messes
sound
me
effects,
up.
man.
Yeah, and then the girl in Hereditary, that terrified me because that was too real. And then you seen Midsummer?
Mm-hmm.
You know that scene where they jump off the cliff and then the head goes,
Yeah.
that scares the crap out of me, man.
See,
'cause those are
Yes.
too real. Anything too real freaks me
And
out.
it's the kind of like back in the 80s, you'd see the scary thing and they'd cut away. Whereas these days you see the scary thing and then you see the aftermath
You
of the
see
scary
too
thing,
much of it.
and it's like, oh God.
Well, dude, I mean, to bring it back to the Northman, there's that moment. I'm not going to spoil it because you haven't seen it, but where you literally see a sword go through someone's skull and they don't cut away. It is brutal.
Yeah.
It looks real. It looks brutal. And like, I had to look away in person because I was like,
Okay,
"Man,
so
that's
I will
legit."
probably love that when they make gore badass. I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, that's the man. in
You're
me.
gonna walk away from that movie wanting to be a bigger man than you've ever been before. You're
That's
gonna
what Dragon
beat
Ball
your
Z
chest,
does
bro.
for me, man. Like I watch Dragon Ball Z to inspire myself to work out.
Yeah.
It's like Goku and
Okay.
Vegeta are constantly training. And
Were you
then-
ever into anime, Jake?
I've never been into anime. No, it wasn't something like there's a obviously a rich storytelling culture there as well. I just never took the time to get into it.
Mhm.
So I'm sure that if I like committed to it, I would like it. I just haven't given it the time.
Yeah, I mean, other than Dragon Ball Z, I haven't spent too much time watching anime. But what were some of the cartoons that you grew up watching?
Oh, just your typical cartoons. You got like Looney Tunes and like Dexter's Lab. And,
Yeah.
You know, obviously like Dexter's Lab and
DD always
This is
pushing that
always-
button. You pushing that
I always
button.
wanted like that giant laboratory with you can make anything and you could be anything. It was cool.
I wouldn't be surprised if you have one like underground at your house because you're so
does.
knowledgeable about everything. I can
Have you
see you
been to
being
my-
a man.
He does.
I haven't yet. You haven't.
He's
invited
working
me.
on it right now,
I'm
man.
building it.
He's built. That's his next DIY video. He's going to become Dexter.
Which Dexter? The
Yeah, I was just gonna.
No, all right. There is, which they're bringing that series back. I guess. Never
they already
watched
did.
it.
They already did.
Oh, all right. Well,
Yeah, it's on
that's how much I don't know
Showtime
about
only,
things.
so I haven't seen it. That's like the only thing I don't own is Showtime.
I just recently got Paramount Plus, and it's kind of awesome.
It's
like there's
so
so many
awesome.
good movies on there.
I've been watching.
I believe
Halo.
Paramount. No, it's
I haven't seen
HBO
Halo.
Max that has the old classic Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network cartoons, isn't it?
Really?
HBO
I
Max.
have no idea.
I think Paramount Plus has all like the classic Nickelodeon or something.
Have either of you guys seen Barry yet?
Bear.
Barry with Bill Hader.
Oh no.
Oh, dude, do that.
Very, very, very. Is that the one where he like becomes like a total badass and beats everybody up?
No, so he's a hitman that becomes an actor. That's all I'll say.
Oh, you were showing me about. Yeah, I need to
Best
watch that.
show ever. Season 3 just came out. I wish you guys would.
Oh, it's a TV show. I'm thinking of a movie.
So we got another question here from Christy D. Palma.
Hey,
How
Christy.
do you feel about Hill House, Bly Manor, Midnight Mass, and Mike Flanagan?
Thank you so much for reminding me about Mike Flanagan. He's like at the top of the list.
Who is it?
Mike Flanagan. So he did. Have you seen Oculus?
No.
He does a lot of these horror movies that are, again, not necessarily about the scary thing, but about the people around the scary thing,
Mm.
their stories, their struggles, all of that. And it's really good human story wrapped around a horror story. So he did Hill House and
Oh,
Haunting
Hill
of Bly
House.
Manor.
Wait, that was the Netflix,
Netflix,
one,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
I,
then-
didn't, I didn't watch that, but Brittany watched that, and there's like this incredible oneer that's in it.
Yes, at the funeral.
Yeah,
Dude, that inspired me. Oh, Jinx, you owe me a soda. We said dude at the same
Yeah.
time. But that inspired me like to want to like be a part of as an actor in a one-shot take.
Dude, oneers are awesome.
Dude, it was so intense. Like I don't like how they did the.
I think there's a whole behind the scenes on how they did it too.
Yeah, and they have these like masked cuts, and they have these awesome set pieces that
Yeah,
moved, and
yeah.
it's so cool.
And so that was Mike Flanagan. Then.
That was Mike Flanagan, and then he did Haunting of Bly Manor, which is a similar type of story. It's based off of Turning of the Screw.
Not quite as good, but it's all right.
It's good. Like, it's more emotional than anything. It's not quite as like scary.
It has my favorite actress in it, and I cannot think of her name, the main character. I have the biggest celebrity crush
Yeah.
on her. She is so she was in
She's also a great actress.
she is
She's
a, no, she
fantastic.
really is. She really is a great actress, but like that's my celebrity crush. One day we'll marry each other. But she's in also you, and she that's how I
Oh,
discovered
You?
her.
Like with the serial
The-
killer dude?
The
or not?
obsessive, creepy
Boyfriend?
psychopath.
So who is she? Is she the blonde girl from
She
season 1?
plays Love in season 2.
Oh, it says- see, I haven't finished season 2, man.
That's
I
how
got-
I found out about my.
I just
future
recently
wife.
watched You, and the girl that is in season 1, I liked her so much, man. And if you haven't seen You, you've seen You, right?
I've not seen you.
All right, well, I won't spoil it. But anyway, the girl in season 1 is better.
We actually just canceled Netflix just because they.
Oh, you just canceled.
Yeah.
it. Okay. Yeah, there's not a lot out there, man.
I know.
I mean, Big Mouth is one of my favorite things that is on
Big
Netflix.
Mouth.
But I don't. What else?
I
is
love
there?
Coach
Coach.
and Big Mouth.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
thought that was a show that you were
He's
talking about.
making Mike Flanagan's making
Sorry.
Fall of the House of Usher. He's making a series based on that.
Hmm.
So I might have to get Netflix just to watch.
Oh,
that.
is it gonna be a Netflix original?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's crazy. We got some more here. What projects have you been working on, and any set stories that you can share?
Okay. Projects. I am working with this guy and Derek Smith and Kevin Shepard and Brittany Benedict in the back there. And who else? Damien.
Damian Allen Mancino, Nathan Sharp. I don't know. You've been pretty busy working with everyone. Or are you? You're talking about the
Derek's
anthology.
project.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I've been working on Batman too. There's an awesome Batman fan film coming out sometime in the near future. But
Hopefully.
we're shooting it right now.
No, it'll come out. There's a lot more shooting to be happening, but yes, it'll come out.
One more day for me.
This guy, he's playing Riddler.
Mm-hmm.
He's killing it.
Thank you.
But yeah, we're also working on this anthology horror series.
I'm really interested in hearing more about that. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, so I'm excited about it. I wrote one story, and then I know that Derek and Damien and Kevin are each writing their own, and we're kind of tackling different styles of horror, but it's all going to be in this same like universe where all the stories interconnect in a not necessarily meaningful way, but they're going to connect in the same universe where it's like this continuous story. So that's all I'll say about it for now, but it's going to be fun.
Well, then aren't you doing another thing with Derek where it's like a 2-minute script or something?
Yeah, we were talking about a micro short because Derek's becoming the king of micro shorts in Iowa. I don't know if you know that or not, but that's going to be like his niche. He's really good at it. So he asked me to be part of that because obviously he wants there to be a drone component. And I think Emma's going to be in that.
Oh, really?
As the lead actress.
Wow, that's awesome, man. That's cool. Well, man, you have that, and then we have Batman that we just did.
So we have that and Batman, and then I also applied for a Greenlight grant for a documentary project.
Through Produce Iowa?
Through Produce Iowa.
Oh, cool.
Right. And so I just submitted that this week, actually, or last week.
Isn't that when like you pay a certain amount and then they match you?
Yeah. So there's a cash match to basically just show your commitment to the project, and then they match 100% of it. So
that's so cool that they're doing that.
The project is for a mountain climber from Iowa. Her name's Jen, and she climbed the 7 summits, which is the tallest 7 peaks on each of the 7 continents.
Which means that she's done Mount Everest.
Right, she's done
just
Everest.
Recently, right?
Yeah, 2016 was Everest, and then this past Christmas was Mount Vincent in Antarctica.
That is insane, man.
That's got to be the coolest experience ever.
She has the best stories, and I'm going to take those stories and make them into a cool documentary about her life. And,
so with that, do you think that regardless if you don't get the budget that you're necessarily wanting, are you still going to try to do maybe a smaller scale documentary? Is that sort of the plan?
It's going to get made because it's a story that needs to be told.
Yeah.
She's a very influential person in Iowa, not just for mountain climbers or like the extreme sports active people, but for women and for the LGBTQ community, and for just people in general, Iowans that come from this flat land.
And you said she's from Marengo, right?
She's from Marengo,
like literally one of the smallest towns that are around here.
Right. And she was born in Jessup. She works at General Mills in Cedar Rapids. Like she's just you're very like average Jane kind of person, but she has this amazing side to her, this like adventure and travel and philanthropy. Like she does a lot of volunteer work that is really inspiring. So the story's going to get told
all around. I haven't even met her, and you just tell stories about her, and I'm like, man, this seems like something that needs to be made, because I know the grant is to support people to make films in Iowa, and they want it to be very Iowa centric, and that all makes sense. And a lot of the times I think it will go towards short films, and that's great. But I think there's the moment that, or the story that you're trying to tell is like so important, you know what I'm saying? And the fact that it's so close to home to everyone that's here, I like, why not, Right. But I know that it's a tough thing to get, but I mean, yeah, dude, I think that you have an incredible story, or she has an incredible story that you're wanting to tell. That would be, so dope. I mean, just from your tagline there, like she's one of the only women in Iowa, or
the only woman.
Yeah.
And I think the
only woman in the world.
And I think the only woman from Iowa to climb the 7 summits, and then the second person from Iowa.
Wow.
That's crazy. That and does she know what she's signing up for? Does she know you're wanting to make this movie? Or are you just gonna knock on her door and say, hey, I got like $50,000 here to make a movie about your life. Let's go.
Right. No, she's definitely on it. And cool. She does a lot of speaking engagements around Iowa, like libraries and colleges and stuff, just to tell her story and get herself out there. And my wife actually helped her, or made a book, like a photo book for her.
Oh, cool.
Because she has all of these photos from her travels. And she made this kind of like coffee table sized photo book of all of the 7 summits, and then all of her like volunteer travels and stuff. And so she like sells that and gives speaking engagements. And so I've been kind of, in the last couple of times she's done them, followed her with the camera to get some, verite footage for the documentary. And so that's kind of been the start of it. And we're going to obviously, if we get the grant this summer, probably July or August sometime, start doing like interview stuff and learning more of her backstory.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch it. It's going to happen.
Yeah, so I wanted to, before we get close to wrapping up here, I want to know a few things. You're relatively new to the filmmaking community here in Iowa. What would be sort of your tips to sort of get into this community? Because, now you're a part of like all these projects, and now you're part of Dead Men Walking with Michael Minard, and a bunch of future stuff that we plan on working on. Like, what has sort of been your, like, how have you gotten into the community, and what would your tips be?
Yeah. Don't be above anything, right? Like you asked me to do sound.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never done sound before. I'll be honest with you.
No, yeah.
I never run sound. I never operated a boom pole. It's long days, it's hard work, and your arms get tired.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about the size of running sound, but you can't be better than that, because that's how you find your tribe. And that's the next piece of advice, is find your people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get your crew together, and just make stuff together. Get to know how each of you work, and then move on to bigger projects, and just make and build, right?
Yeah. And I mean, like you said, with long days, dude, like I always bring up those back-to-back 13-hour days that we had doing Batman. And it's like literally by the end of that, dude, I was so dead. We were in Burlington, and like we didn't get home until one day. You didn't get home until like what, 2 a.m. or something? Like, dude, I'm telling you. But it's also like, it's a magical moment when it's like, because everyone's struggling while you're there doing it. But it's nice to have your tribe, and like you're all going through hell for the same thing, and that's really special.
We filmed 13 hours in a freezing cold abandoned school.
I didn't think it was that cold, dude. I was sweating by the end of it, to be honest. But I was holding a camera and moving around the whole time. So
the first day in Burlington was freezing cold in the gym.
It was freezing cold outside. There was nowhere to hide for warmth. It was terrible.
Dude, yeah, I forgot we were at the gym for the Joker stuff too. Yeah, I don't know. We've filmed so much at this point, like I'm starting to lose track of the days.
But I want to talk about, you working sound and stuff, and you've never done that before. Just because you don't want to be someone who just does sound, or somebody who's like a PA, like those are great, especially in the independent film world, because you can easily find your tribe. And then like, if you want to direct something, if you want to act in something, if you want to write something, no one's going to laugh at you. It's not Hollywood where like you're running sound and they're like, oh, and I got this fantastic idea for a movie. And they're like, oh, you're just a sound guy.
And that's the great thing about Iowa, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not Hollywood, and there isn't this like competitive, kind of cutthroat nature to it. It's everyone is collaborating. Everyone's interested in creating great movies and building the whole community together, not like elevating myself to be, the best or better than all the rest.
Right. You and Derek are like perfect examples, like, of like being able to develop into doing all these other jobs in the film world. Cause like when I worked with Derek, it was on a Happy Birthday, and he just, it was just kind of like, it was him and Joe's baby. But like, I only saw Derek as like, working behind the scenes, doing like makeup and sound. And then now he's a director and writer. And like, I would have never saw that coming, but he's fantastic at it. You're the Jake of all trades. You're fantastic at everything. I mean, but like, you just kind of came out of nowhere, and I love it though. And it's like, you're made, I think we would be your tribe, a part of your tribe. I see you everywhere now, man.
Well, I mean, that's to speak to like almost loyalty in a way. It's like, dude, no matter what Derek ever wants to do, he's like got me. Like, he doesn't have to pitch anything to me. If he wants to make a movie, hey man, you got me. You've done so much for me, like, why wouldn't I help you? Right. I think that's also like, you just keep helping the people who help you. And then, I mean, one of us got to get a big movie deal at some point. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just increase the odds by bringing on your team,
Even if we don't, we're having a blast making
dude, I mean, for real. I mean, we're making movies. I mean, I make films, never thought I would in my life. And the fact that we get to is, it's crazy, and I'm grateful. And
And
Every
Michael-
year we almost get to bring on someone new to the team, which is awesome. And Derek, Kevin, you, just a bunch of people, man. And we just keep collaborating. And I mean, it's been a busy year, but I mean, it's so fun. So
And Michael and Brittany have like a very inspiring story. Like when you guys first came to Iowa Film, and then your guys' work just continues to grow. Like you guys made a serious name for yourself, and you guys kind of came into it late also. And then we're meeting all these new people as well. But like, you guys are killing it in the Iowa film scene. Like literally, like there were so many people like that have been doing it for so long, and then like you guys just like it's always Michael and Brittany making the next big
Well,
thing.
I
They're like
appreciate
the Iowa
that,
power
So
couple.
congrats to you guys though. I mean, with like you guys make seriously.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's just to say, dude, I couldn't do any of it if we didn't have a team behind us. I mean, from having a 2-man team, it is tough. It is painful. The fact to have someone that you can rely on makes making movies easier. So it's like, if it was still just me and Brittany, I mean, we wouldn't be doing it. Like, it is an unbelievable amount of work that is not sustainable if you don't have a team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have to at some point. Like, if you're starting out, do everything by yourself just so you can learn, and then definitely find the people who you work well with and keep working with them.
Exactly.
Anyway, before we wrap up here, I know Dylan likes to ask one final question. So go ahead and
Yes.
ask that,
Oh,
Dylan.
man.
All right, Jake, if you could step into a time machine and go back in time to a little old Jake of all trades, what kind of advice would you give yourself if you could go back in time?
Okay. Okay. I'd look at him and be like, Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
It doesn't make sense right now, but freaking go buy Bitcoin.
He's like, I don't even know what that is,
Okay.
man.
No, I would say something like, I've thought about this because I know you're gonna ask this. It's gonna sound mean. I'm gonna say, you aren't that special. And I'd say that's the best advice I could give you, and that gives you freedom to go and do what you want and what serves you the best and what serves others the best. Because I grew up a lot with this like mentality of competition and performance, and I didn't prioritize relationships, and I didn't prioritize experiences. I was going to be trying to be the best, treated everything like it was a competition, and that didn't serve me very well, right? So coming into this community where it's not that, and that's everything that's collaborative, and everyone's going for the service of the story, that's in my opinion far better than being the best, because once you end up being at a high level, you go to the next level, and then you're just the same as everybody else. And it's that all the way to an invisible top that doesn't exist, right? So yeah, you are not that special, and go and do what you're passionate about.
Yeah, I mean, to speak on that, man, I love that. And that's something that I've tried to learn more so is like, especially I'm a person who deals with a lot of anxiety, and like I like to think that, oh man, I'm having the hardest time right now. But also like, dude, there's hundreds of millions of people out there all going through probably the same thing. So it's like, you're not that special to be struggling through this. So and it's not to say that your mental illness isn't serious, but it's also like, there's a ton of people who are struggling right now, and they're still getting up every day and like working hard. So you can too, man.
Right. And that's not to say like, don't work hard, don't have discipline.
Yeah.
Like do all of those
Yeah.
things, make yourself the best that you can, but don't treat life or even like your current place like it's something to be elevated.
Yeah.
Find the joy in where you are.
Absolutely, man. I couldn't say it better.
Off of filmmaking, just about life in general, I keep telling myself to quit bitching, because there's people who got it worse.
Oh, dude, I say that all the time, man.
Yeah, dude, like I complain about like, oh, I can't afford this bill. And I'm like, well, there's people who can't even afford a roof over their head. So I really need to quit stressing out for this damn electric bill.
Yeah, I mean, it puts things into perspective, but also, I mean, yeah, dude, everyone's life can be hard at their own times, but just realizing that, you only got one shot to do stuff, man. So go out and do it. Anyway, Jake, thank you so much for coming on here, man. It's been a blast. We've been able to talk a lot of stuff, movies,
Yes.
filmmaking, everything we love to talk about here. Go ahead and let the people know where they can find you.
Okay. Okay. So Facebook, Jacob Daniels, Instagram, Jacob All Trades. There's a couple of dots and underscores in there. So
I linked it in the Instagram or in the
okay.
description, so
Check the
you can
links.
follow through there.
Follow me on Twitter if you want.
We have a Twitter.
I have a Twitter. I don't use it very often.
I haven't
And
used
then-
Twitter since like 2015.
Yeah.
I think the only person who uses Twitter is Trump.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Oh, is he
Um,
still kicked off?
Oh yeah, he has his own social media platform.
And
Anyway,
then
go on, Jake.
YouTube,
Yeah, we
Jacob
should
All
create
Trades
a
YouTube
profile just for kicks and giggles.
Huh?
I said we should create a profile just for kicks and giggles on Trump.com or whatever it's called.
Yeah. If you want to, by all means, I'll send you
Nah,
your feet up. Okay.
Nah.
Anyway, thank you again so much for coming on here, man, and talking to us. For future episodes, we have Erica Faye on May 11th. And then the Indie Social team will be in Ottumwa, I believe, at the IMPA Movie Awards, where we'll have a live blue carpet where you can come hang out and talk to us and meet a lot of fellow filmmakers. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then on May 25th, we have Patrick Gem, which is one of my favorite actors here in Iowa. We've got to work a lot with him, and excited to talk to him more often, or more when he's here. But anyway, if that's it,
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you. Until next time.
Peace.
Everybody.